Aloha, and how's it? Today we're talking all about how you can make the most of LinkedIn creator mode so that you can grow your business and scale your impact as an expert. So, more on that in a minute. How was your weekend? We had the Sunset Pro competition. It's a surfing competition, and it was so fun to watch all the pros get out there and catch some gnarly waves, some sick drops, massive wipeouts, crazy maneuvers. The men and women are just really inspiring. Plus, I also did a little bit of shopping, and my partner Jason custom ordered my first custom surfboard from Paizel. So you are going to see it soon in my backdrop in another 5 to 6 weeks. So it will replace that lost board back there. So I'm pretty excited. Lots of fun surfing stuff happening. And now it is time for Mondays with Mindy. This is a weekly show at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, where I talk about all things LinkedIn pipeline, promo, and profiles, what I like to call the 3 Ps of LinkedIn. Now, a little teaser for those of you who also love podcasts like me. I am launching a podcast and it is called The Mango Effect on April 4th. So that's when all of the shows are going to drop. There's going to be 10 dropping all on April 4th. So the trailer episode is up now at mangoeffect.com. If you also want to check it out and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, I'm there too. I'm everywhere now. So go ahead and subscribe so you'll know when those 10 episodes drop. It's going to be a very different experience from what you hear here on the Mondays with Mindy show because I'm going to get into topics that are less LinkedIn centric and give you a sneak peek into what I believe it means to live and create your own lifestyle by design. So we have some pretty juicy topics already queued up that relate to entrepreneurship, health and well-being, relationships, surfing, a lot of other good stuff as well. So I'm going to start posting some teaser snippets on Instagram, if you like Instagram, at Mango Effect Podcast. So you can check them out there. They're going to be dropping over the next several weeks. So you'll get a little taste of what the podcast is about. Now, do you have questions about LinkedIn that you want me to answer? Be sure to like this post, whether you're live or watching from the replay. Leave your questions below and I will answer them after the show or on a future episode of Mondays with Mindy. I love getting requests for topics or like, Mindy, can you please cover this? Because that helps me know what you're really interested in learning. And today's topic actually came from a request. And I really wanted to dive into what it means to use LinkedIn creator mode, which is today's topic. How do you maximize LinkedIn creator mode as an expert? What exactly is it? Do you need to turn it on? So last week we talked about right sizing your LinkedIn network. And that kind of leads us to today, where we're going to go beyond our network to start attracting the right types of people with our content. So you're like, Mindy, all right, who's LinkedIn creator mode for? I don't even know what LinkedIn creator mode is. Or maybe I do know what it is, but please refresh me. Like, where did it come from? Why should I care? So this is a question I learned to ask when I was doing Seth Godin's Alt MBA program 5 years ago. And wow, does time fly? And he brought up this point like, okay, every time you're looking at something new, every time you're asking yourself a question, you want to ask yourself, who's it for? So when I think of LinkedIn creator mode, I think, who's it for? If you don't know for whom LinkedIn creator mode is intended, you won't really understand the importance of using it, whether it's for you, whether it's for somebody else. Are you going to really get the most out of it? So, LinkedIn creator mode was really created for those experts who create long form content. When I'm talking about long form content, think about articles, videos, podcasts, live streams, content that is much more insightful typically and engaging, really trying to pull people in. So it's not those cute little Twitter snippets that you see people posting on Twitter or sometimes on other channels, sometimes on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, we are talking about really beefy things, is what I like to look at it as, thought leadership content. Where we are really trying to change people's perspectives. We're trying to inspire, we're trying to engage, we're trying to elaborate on something of interest to our audience. Now, for some years, the LinkedIn newsfeed was inundated with what I call those Twitter style content that are like these pithy posts from people trying to be clever. And it really lacked substance. Like, I used to be so turned off by my newsfeed because it just felt like there were all these guys just kind of posting Twitter posts all over LinkedIn. And I'm like, this is not really sparking engagement. Most of the time, it was just kind of trying to play with the algorithm. And for a while, the LinkedIn algorithm did favor those shorter posts that were just kind of a little bit pithy, and they would get a lot of comments below them. But LinkedIn has shifted, which I am really, really happy about. I think LinkedIn kind of picked up on this. They listen to us, they pay attention to what we're looking for, and they realized they needed to figure out a way to make the news feed and content on LinkedIn more valuable for users. So when I think of really good long form content, it's valuable. It changes my perspective. It gets me to see something from a new angle. It gives me some practical tips that I can start applying right now, and it's fun, it's inspiring, it's engaging. So LinkedIn created this thing called Creator Mode, and it really was intended to serve professionals who are looking to connect with other experts and industry thought leaders and share their perspectives in longer form. So it emerged initially to a select group of users who were already producing longer form content, and then it became available to just about anyone with a decent sized network and following. So if you are an expert in your field and you have long form content that you want to share on LinkedIn, you're going to want to turn on creator mode. It was really created with you in mind. So the thing is, you want to be prepared to publish consistently once you turn on creator mode. And you'll definitely want to identify which features of creator mode that you plan to use, plus how frequently you want to publish content. Okay, so a little teaser there for what we're covering today. And aloha, for those who don't know me, my name is Mindi Rosser. I'm the founder of Mindi Rosser Marketing, and I have a group program called the LinkedIn Accelerator for those who want to go from 0 to 60 on LinkedIn with their profile and their network. So we had a great time just a few weeks ago with the latest cohort, and you are invited to get on the wait list for the next one. It's happening in April. Super excited. The details will be at the end of this live if you want to grab the link and just add your name to the wait list. So I help superstars who feel they are the best kept secret in their industry to become the go-to visible expert in their niche so they can get that next opportunity, grow their business, and scale their impact on LinkedIn. And in this live, we are going to talk about why it is so important that you understand the features of LinkedIn Creator Mode so that you can land that next opportunity, so that you can engage and impact the people in your network and really get them to see a different perspective, all with the intention of course, growing your business, scaling your impact, and really getting your content out there. That is the goal of LinkedIn Creator Mode. So, are you ready? Let's jump right in. So, go ahead, like this post, whether you're live or watching from the replay, to give it some social love. All right, so when is the right time to turn on Creator Mode? These are not hard and fast rules, but here's what I tend to recommend for when to turn creator mode on and when to turn it off. Some people tend to turn on or off creator mode too quickly. So here's what you need to know. If you already have a decent sized network of 500 plus, you can turn it on as long as you're okay with people being prompted to follow you instead of connecting with you. So here are my rules for turning on LinkedIn creator mode. All right, so first, when you're already actively sharing content weekly or more frequently on LinkedIn. So if you're already sharing content, you're already familiar with that process, you may want to look at creator mode. Next, when you have decided that you want to use LinkedIn Live or you want the newsletter feature. Also, when you are regularly publishing LinkedIn articles and you want that newsletter feature to so that you can invite all of your connections to subscribe to your newsletter. And then you also need to have 500 plus connections, or ideally, I like to say 1,000 LinkedIn connections, and you're not worried about whether or not people actually connect with you. It's okay if they just follow you on LinkedIn. So I tend to recommend that most experts, a lot of the ones that I work with, turn it on because they're just going to get a lot more exposure for the content they're already working very hard to produce. So a lot of experts are producing some type of weekly, bi-weekly, monthly content already. So using LinkedIn Creator Mode, you can repurpose that content to share it with your network on LinkedIn. So here's my rule for when to keep LinkedIn Creator Mode off. So when you have yet to set up a newsletter or do LinkedIn Live and you're not planning to do it anytime soon. So if you've turned on creator mode and you're like, Mindy, I'm not sure if I should turn it off. I'm not really going to I'm not going to go live. I'm not going to publish any really long form content. I'm not sure it's really serving me. Then you may want to consider turning it off. But just remember, As soon as you turn it off, you lose access to the LinkedIn Live and newsletter feature. So if you have it turned on, do not turn it off unless you understand and you know that you're not going to use those features because you're going to lose access. Okay. So you may also want to turn it off or keep off LinkedIn creator mode when your search appearances or your profile views are dropping dramatically. So I have worked with some people, and as soon as they turned on creator mode, like a week or two later, they said, it's actually hurting me. I noticed that my profile views are dropping. It's not helping me. I'm not really publishing content. In that case, you may want to leave it off if you're really concerned about those numbers, because sometimes it can affect it negatively. Also, if you have less than 1,000 connections and you are really, really focused on getting more connections, not followers, connections. So people that you can have a two-way conversation with. So if your focus is, I need more connections in my network, you may want to just double check and make sure that you want to have creator mode turned on, because you might not want to if you are really focused on building your network with connections. Also, when you are on LinkedIn to do social selling, so for those of you that are reaching out and you want to make it as easy as possible for prospects to connect with you and start up a conversation, you may want to leave it off. You may not even need the content features. So I have a number of clients that this is where they are right now. They're focused on the social selling. They could care less about the creator mode features, and they want to make it as easy as possible for people to connect with them. Also, if you are not sharing content at least weekly, so you really should be sharing content on LinkedIn before you turn on creator mode. You need to be in that habit. So, what's an example of a type of professional where I would recommend they not turn on creator mode? One example would be possibly a B2B salesperson. So, maybe you don't publish your own content and you might not need creator mode turned on, especially if you are just focused on prospecting, social selling, getting into those two-way conversations with people. It might make sense not to turn it on for your profile. So does it make sense? You kind of understand, okay, I'm either an expert and I have content that I share regularly and I have long form content. Okay, then you probably want to turn on creator mode. If you are not in that category and you really need to focus on your network, connections, and prospecting, social selling, then, and you don't have content to share, long form content, then you might want to leave it off. So that's kind of my rule of thumb for the profile. There are always exceptions. So you may be an exception to those rules, and that's okay, but just be understanding of what features you have and which ones you can take advantage of and figure out where you fall on the spectrum. All right, so creator mode amplifies your content. So creator mode is not a substitute for crappy content. Creator mode is going to amplify whatever content you already have. So if you're thinking about creator mode, make sure your content is actually good. I know I kind of struggled to say this. I almost didn't bring this up, but I've seen too many people jump on the creator bandwagon, and either they never publish content beyond that first post, or they publish what I call like that filler content. You're like, this is garbage. It doesn't actually provide a unique perspective. They're just rehashing stuff, and it doesn't feel like it fits the platform. It feels like they're just parroting other experts. It is not showing their unique capabilities as an expert. If you want creator mode to work for you, it's critical that you have the basics down for what good content actually is. So you may need to up your content game before you start using creator mode if you want to make the most of it. Am I saying you have to be a content expert? No. What I'm saying is your content better stand out from the rest, or people are just going to ignore it. And you're going to say, okay, I have creator mode turned on, but nobody's listening. Well, your content might suck. So that could be one problem, and you really want to avoid that problem before you get started. So start by looking at the content you already have posted over the last, I would say the last year or so, and then start thinking about, okay, which topics or ideas resonated with people in my network or from other channels. If you haven't posted much on LinkedIn, maybe you're looking at Instagram, Facebook, maybe you have a community where you post content, maybe an email newsletter. So look at those pieces of content that you already have to figure out, okay, if I'm going to start posting content, I should probably focus on the content that was, really resonated with people. That was really that thought leadership type of content. That's what you're going to want to focus on for LinkedIn creator mode. Thought leadership content works so well, but it has to be good. It has to resonate with people. So if you're struggling here, like, Mindy, I'm not sure if my content is good enough, I don't want you to get stuck in that, but I just want you to realize that if your content kind of feels like it could use some improvement, the quality is not quite where you need it to be, Maybe you want to get feedback from people that you trust as to whether your content and your strategy is on point. If you're looking for help in this area, I'm not paid, I'm not an affiliate, but my top recommendation for anything messaging or content is Brandon Lucero. So look him up. I'd highly recommend you check out his podcast or attend one of his free boot camps. He has a lot of them throughout the year. If you want to dive deeper into creating good content and messaging, he is the master. I love his content. He has helped me with mine. So I have learned a ton from him. He's a great mentor. If you're feeling like, just want to learn some, I need to brush up on my content skills before I start using LinkedIn creator mode, just check out his content. He's got a lot of free stuff out there. Just listen to his podcast. He shares all of these really neat techniques that will help you dial in your content and get that quality there before you just start amplifying it. Because if you amplify it before the quality is there, you're just not going to get the results. Okay. So creator mode only amplifies your content to a larger audience. It's not going to make up for poor content. If your content sucks, it won't matter whether or not you have LinkedIn creator mode turned on. I know that's the fact of the matter. So shore up your content before you proceed. All right. So now that we're clear on that, how do we go about maximizing LinkedIn creator mode for experts? So by this point, you probably know what creator mode is, who it's for, when to turn it on or off, and how you need to have a solid content strategy in place before you get started. So we're going to shift gears a little bit here to get into the nuts and bolts of creator mode. So how can you set yourself up for success once the timing is right for you? So I'm going to share my screen here so you'll be able to see it. And let's just put it there so you can see my profile. And you're going to see what I'm referring to when I'm talking through LinkedIn creator mode, what it looks like, the benefits of how it all works. And if you've decided like, okay, Mindi, I'm a content creator and I'm ready to make the most of it, what do I need to know to get started? So if you like to get a little nerdy, look at my screen here. We're going to look on LinkedIn so you understand exactly how to get started and how to use LinkedIn creator mode. So the first thing you're going to see right under my headline is you're going to want to choose your 5 hashtags. So these 5 hashtags are going to best describe the content that you share and your areas of expertise. So you can see mine here on the screen. What you're going to want to think about, this is what I teach inside of the LinkedIn Accelerator program too. So if you want to go deeper on this, make sure to get on the wait list. I usually recommend picking 3 really popular hashtags. So if you're like, okay, how do I know what's really popular? There's a extension, a Chrome extension called LinkedIn hashtags. Just type it into your browser, it'll pop up. It's for Chrome only, so you do have to use Chrome. It will help you figure out how many followers your hashtags actually have. So you want to pick 3 popular ones, and popular is different in every industry. I usually think of popular as there's more than 1,000 people following that hashtag. Sometimes you're only going to have several hundred, but I like to look for popular hashtags with 1,000 plus. Sometimes a lot more than that. Sometimes tens of thousands of followers is really good. All right, so you're going to pick 3 hashtags that are really popular. Then the other 2 hashtags are going to be unique to you. So what does that mean? These can be product specific or they can be hashtags you created yourself. They might be directly related to your programs, your products, or services. So these ones can be unique to you. So you can see on mine right now with my profile, it's kind of tiny, but I have LinkedIn. I have Mango Effect, which is related to my newsletter and my podcast. So that's a unique to me. Social selling, which is a popular one. LinkedIn marketing, which is a popular one. And then LinkedIn Accelerator, which is related to my program. So you see, I have 3 populars and 2 hashtags that are unique to me. Okay. So you want to think about what is going to show up directly under your headline area, because this is going to signal to people what types of content you share, what types of content you like to talk about. These hashtags make it super easy for people to realize, okay, you talk about LinkedIn. Great. Do I want to learn more about LinkedIn? Cool. Then I'll follow you. Or if they're not interested, they're just going to move on, and that's okay. You want to be very, very clear. Don't just pick hashtags that are popular. Make sure that they are related to content that you post. It's really important that there's a match there. Okay. So that's number 1 is choose your 5 hashtags. All right. So number 2 is the follow button. So you can't see it on mine because I'm looking at my own profile. But what happens is when you have LinkedIn creator mode turned on, you're going to have a button that says follow instead of connect. So right where it says like open to, that button would say follow. So when people come to my profile, instead of seeing connect as that call to action, they're going to see follow. So people can still send you a connection request, but they have to know where to look to find that spot to send you a connection invitation. And LinkedIn is also going to give them a message that says, this person prefers to be followed. Okay, so they're gonna have to jump through that hurdle. So LinkedIn displays the number of followers you have at the top of your profile, as opposed to putting 500 plus connections, which is what you would see if you did not have creator mode turned on. So you're going to have a follow button, and then it's going to show the number of followers that you have at the top instead of a connection button and the number of connections, the 500 plus connections that you have at the top. Okay. So just kind of understand the little bit of a nuance there when you are on your profile. Okay. So third, you want to know about your original content and realize that it's going to be featured. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. So you can see down here in my featured section currently, you can see that I have my lives, I have other content, I can feature things here. But what I'm referring to is the activity section. So in the activity section, you want to make sure that you are regularly sharing content, because if this looks really blank and you have just turned on creator mode, it looks really funny, and you want to make sure that there's something there for people to see, and you really want people to see like multiple posts within a week, or that you're sharing content at least once a week and commenting on things. So this is going to be prominent on your profile. So LinkedIn is going to highlight your content on your profile, and it kind of reorders the sections on your profile, kind of putting that featured and activity section at the top. Okay. So you want to make sure you have some stuff in your featured section. You want to make sure that there is recent activity on your profile. If not, and you're like, I still want to turn on creator mode, just go do some stuff for like a week on LinkedIn, add some things to your featured section, and then turn on creator mode. That will work much, much better. Okay. So there's a little bit of a difference just on the order of things on your profile with creator mode turned on. So that's why it doesn't really make sense to turn on creator mode if you're not sharing content. That's why I say go share some content first, then turn on creator mode. Okay. All right. Number 4, the LinkedIn newsletter. So starting a LinkedIn newsletter, this is one of the biggest perks to having creator mode turned on, because the newsletter is one of LinkedIn's favorite ways to kind of get your message out there so people can find you, so they can learn about you. So what you're looking at here is my newsletter. So I will share what my approach is and kind of how I do my newsletter. And this hopefully is helpful for you. Just keep in mind that the newsletter will allow you to share all different types of content. So this could be video, text, audio, PDFs, podcasts, other media. So here's what mine looks like. I'm going to open it right here. Here's my recent one. So at the top, you're going to see that I have a title of my newsletter. I have a tagline, which is the sophisticated approach, blah, blah, blah. You can see I also have an image here. So you can choose a logo. A lot of people will pick their company logo or their personal brand logo. I put a picture of mangoes here because I want people to associate that with my newsletter. And then you have your title, and it looks like a regular article after that. So kind of going through, you'll see like this first section of my newsletter, I kind of give an overview of what my newsletter is about. I do that on purpose. I don't just jump into my article because I want people to understand this is a thing. This is a thing that happens every Tuesday. This is what you can expect. And I want people to understand exactly what they're subscribing to. And I'm consistent to a fault. I always, always, always publish my newsletter on Tuesday, no matter how busy my day is. So that consistency is critical to newsletter success. Then if you scroll down, you'll see that I have, my article here, mangoes everywhere. And then I also embed this live stream. So this live stream that you're watching now will be embedded into my newsletter tomorrow. So I put the YouTube live stream because I can publish multiple places, and I embed that into my newsletter. So this is a very clever way for me to share my newsletter and also engage people in whatever medium they're interested in. Now, I find like a lot of people on LinkedIn, they don't click over to watch my YouTube. Most of them would scan the copy because it's almost verbatim. The copy in my newsletter is what I'm saying here on the episode. So the highlights, the points, people can easily scan it quickly because of the way that I have it formatted. Okay. So you can see that people can just kind of scan through like, okay, this is great. And they may read some sections. Okay. What are the next steps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's very scannable. And even though it says it takes 10 minutes to read, it's not that hard of a read. So the newsletter is really where it's at on LinkedIn. This is my favorite feature for just about everyone that is getting started with creator mode. If you have long form content, share it in a newsletter and be crazy, crazy consistent. Okay. So that's what you can expect with the newsletter. All right. So number 5 is going to be going live on to remove that from the screen. So what you're watching now, you're watching me live on LinkedIn. So if you feel comfortable doing live streams or making videos, then you'll be really excited to take LinkedIn Live for a spin. That's what you're watching here. And the key is you really want to make sure you treat it like a show and not just something that you do randomly when you feel like going live. I've seen a lot of people do that on LinkedIn where they just kind of all of a sudden they're going live. And it's like random times throughout the week that I see this person going live. And most of the time, those random people, I usually will unfollow and not get notifications. Like I'll turn off their notifications because it doesn't feel consistent. And I don't want to see 5 times during the week when they decided to go live and then a month later they decide to go live again. So it's very inconsistent. You want to treat it like it's a show. The more that you can stick to a regular schedule, that it has a theme, that people know exactly what to expect, the better. Now, you may take some time to figure that out at the beginning if you are brand new to live streaming, but you will figure it out. So make sure they know exactly what to expect, when to tune in every week or month or however often you do it. So, and remember that you can actually live stream across more than one platform simultaneously. For example, you could be watching this live stream right here on LinkedIn, in my Facebook group, on my Facebook page, or on YouTube. So I always stream to 4 places every single week, which is great because it gives me exposure across all of those channels. All right, so we covered a lot today. I know it. So there you have it. Let's recap on how to make the most of creator mode. So the first thing you're going to do when you turn it on is choose your 5 hashtags. Then you're going to want to think about, okay, am I good with my follow button being there? And then I'm going to build my following with that follow button. People are going to see how many followers I have versus how many connections I have in my network. Then you're going to want to remember that you're going to have your original content featured at the top of your profile. So make sure that you have been active on LinkedIn, at least for the last week or so it doesn't look empty in there. Then you're going to decide whether or not to start a LinkedIn newsletter. You're going to figure out your title, your tagline, your logo, and then the kind of like the topic and feel that you want for your very first article. You're going to invite all of your connections to subscribe to your newsletter. And you're going to publish frequently and publish consistently. That is going to be the key. If you don't publish consistently, it just falls off everyone's radar and they see you popping up going, who is that again? Like, what newsletter is that? So make sure you publish consistently. And then you're going to decide whether or not you're going to do LinkedIn Live. And if you are going live elsewhere, of course, you should do LinkedIn Live. You might as well stream to LinkedIn as well. Okay, so we covered a lot today. What additional questions do you have about making the most of creator mode? Leave them below in the comments or shoot me a private message. I am happy to answer them. If you are having any trouble setting it up, send me a screenshot. I love helping people out, especially as you're getting started on your journey. So if you're ready to get started with LinkedIn and take that next step to optimize your profile, once and for all, I invite you to join us inside the next cohort of the LinkedIn Accelerator. It is happening April. So I'm super, super excited. Early April, we are opening the doors again to the next cohort. So get on the wait list, grab that link, add your name there, and I will keep you posted on when and what and how to be involved. So I will see you next week on Mondays with Mindi. Feel free, again, leave questions, comments below, and my inbox is open if you want to message me directly. Bye for now. I will see you then.